Hello, welcome. Welcome to my channel, KC. That's me, Carrie Chug, the Sledge storyteller, here to talk about the wonderful world of storytelling and open up discussion about how we can tell the best stories we possibly can. So what you just saw was a textbook example of a flashback. Flashbacks, by definition, are an interruption of the plot to show a past event relevant to the plot, and they have proven to be both effective and not so effective in storytelling. In the DC Comics Guide to Writing Comics, the late Dennis O'Neil advises flashbacks are overused and I think generally to be avoided. That doesn't mean he's entirely dismissive of the practice of using flashbacks, because he says just after that, go into flashbacks only when logic of the story demands them, when the character needs to recall something that has direct bearing on what's happening to him. An example of a bad flashback, I'd say, is in, it's not just the only thing that's bad about it, but in Batman and Robin, there were those times where he as a child had these random experiences, and what Alfred does and care for him tends to pull directly at our heartstrings and really doesn't go anywhere. Now, one thing I said earlier that I want to be a key word when it comes to talking about flashbacks is interruption. The main plot that's the thing of the story that's supposed to move when we experience it, and no one likes to feel the thrust of that story stop with a flashback that doesn't add to the plot. And unless the string of flashbacks make up that plot, a la Forrest Gump, too much of a flashback in a story makes the plot lose its momentum. So sometimes exposition is the right way to go. A good use of exposition being enough to cover what's in the past is in John Steinbeck's novel of Mice and Men. So here you've got George and Lenny on the run from a previous job, having landed a new job, and a coworker asks, why you guys on the run? And George simply explains that Lenny got too friendly with a girl because of his obsession with pretty things, and that exposition was enough, and it's always been that way in the book and every movie adaptation. So all the more evidence that exposition is in order at times. But what will warrant the use of a flashback is that once a character is established and the audience knows what they're all about in the present, and the writer wants to establish the experience in the past, you do have to make that work. Both Batman 89 and Batman Begins made flashbacks of the Wayne murders in a way that hit so hard emotionally. As well, the TV series Arrow, initiated right as Oliver Queen is getting rescued from the deserted island, and continues with flashback scenes that run parallel with what's happening in the present, and gives us a lot of insight on how he developed all his skills that led to his war on crime when he returned home. And it goes a long way to build up curiosity in an audience to get to a flashback that answers all the big questions we keep asking as we experience the story. In The Quiet Man, for instance, a movie near and dear to me, Sean Thornton goes through most of the movie doing whatever he can to avoid a fight, in spite of the fact that he had been a professional boxer. But we learn late in the movie that it was because he had inadvertently killed his last ring opponent, and his moving to Ireland from the US was his emotional escape from that memory. A bit of a twist there, but M. Night Shyamalan makes one of his better twists with a flashback in Unbreakable, when we learn that Elijah Price caused the very train wreck that killed everyone on board except the hero David Dunn. Now, one thing I have to admit to is that, like several other storytelling tropes, flashbacks are easier to depict effectively in visual storytelling, like comics and movies, than in novels. Now, my favorite method I like to see get used in comics and in movies is the video color tone. And one of the better examples of this is in the Batman Hush series by Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee. Here, Jim Lee uses watercolors to emphasize that we're looking at a flashback, and you get the full feel of the emotions conveyed by the imagery, and the feeling that it's Batman having to put the images of his past to memory. And in these images, we see that those memories are haunting him and causing him to lose focus, all the while he's clobbering the Joker big time. But still effective is the use of black and white and sepia imagery to emphasize that we're shifting to a flashback mode. That's my insight on flashbacks. Agree, disagree, something I left out? Please let me know in the comment section. If you like this video, please click like. If you like this channel, please click subscribe or follow me on Instagram. I always got the link below the description to order Sledge #1, and it's also going to be purchased on Kindle. But as always, let's look for civility in our society. We see the pandemic is starting to shrink, but if we start to pull off the safeguards, I think things are going to get back to be as bad as they had been before. I myself got my COVID vaccine yesterday, but I know it's going to be a while before it takes full effect. That's going to be the case with everybody who takes it, so please, let's be a little bit patient. If we are patient now, I think we can all have this licked by about mid-April. But nothing further. Everybody be safe, and God bless.